All right, so I'm back with part three. I ain't wasting no time. I ain't got no grand entrance. Look, first Opium War, first two videos got me locked in. Right now, let me just set y'all up for where I'm at in case somebody watches this video first. Boom. Part one, they kind of explain how it start. Cool. Part two, I picked a side on part one. I'm with the Chinese. Part one, part two, right? I think the the English are arrogant. They tried all kind of backdoor ways to get what they wanted from China. It didn't work out so far. And now we're going into part three. I'm still with China, even though I feel like they could have granted some grace to Elliot. I hope that's the right name, Elliot. To Elliot. Because Elliot didn't really like what his folks had going on with China. You know, he was empathetic, like, bruh, yeah, bruh, we shouldn't be doing this. But he tried to go peacefully, cop some food. China said, nah, bruh, cut him off on the way back home. First Opium War starts between two ships. They fire some cannons back and forth, or some muskets. I don't know what guns was going on back then. All right, that's where we at so far. So I'm still leaning on China's side. This is part three. Let's go.
Guns had been fired, lives had been lost, but full-scale war wasn't a certainty yet. The British set up a blockade. The Chinese were offering to let British captains... Guns had been fired, lives had been lost, but full-scale war wasn't a certainty yet. The British set up a blockade. The Chinese were offering to let British captains dock so long as they signed a bond saying that they would never sell opium in China and were willing to be subject to Chinese law.
Okay, so the ships go at it. I don't know what happens there. Like he said, some people lost their lives, but respectfully, I guess everybody still made it back home. And then they decided, okay, maybe we don't want to do this. So look, let's just come to some common grounds. That's what I'm getting right here. Y'all can like cut the opium, we could trade, and as long as y'all follow our rules, which is all they were asking from the jump. That's what I'm saying, bruh. That's all they were asking from the jump, bruh. All of this happened because y'all just couldn't, because one person didn't like the rules in a whole nother country, bruh.
And saying that they would never sell opium in China and were willing to be subject to Chinese law. But the British had already put out the order. No British ship was to trade with the Chinese. Tensions are high. Something would have to give.
Wait up, like, bro, this might be one I pause a lot. Like, wait a minute. Y'all already gave the order to don't trade with China. Like, they wanted something from y'all. Y'all had the opium. They didn't want the opium in their country. So what, why are you telling ships not to trade? And if you told the ships, how about tell them to undo what I just said? How about that? Hey, bro, we made an agreement. Forget what we said. Go ahead and trade with them. Common ground. Bruh, this is, y'all didn't tell me history. It pissed me off a little bit. And maybe I'm pissed at the wrong people. Maybe I'm pissed about the wrong thing. But I'm a little pissed right now. Because what the fuck, bro? What the fuck?
On the 3rd of November, 1839, a British ship by the name of the Royal Saxon approached Canton. They were signaled to stop, to turn back, but they made a run for it. One of the British ships in the blockade fired a warning shot. It skipped past their bow. The cannon shot was heard from the shore. The Chinese admiral stationed at Canton made his decision. He would send out his fleet to protect the Royal Saxon. And so, a small host of junks and fireships began to pour out of the Canton harbor.
Okay, wait, y'all. So, the British ships are in Chinese territory, I'm taking, by Canton. First off, if they told y'all not to trade with them, why are y'all there? What am I missing, y'all? Now you're telling me y'all fired. What am I missing? Then y'all attack them? Warning shot. I'm sorry, warning shot. That could potentially kill people. I'm missing something, y'all. I'm missing something.
And so, a small host of junks and fireships began to pour out of the Canton harbor. The situation was confused. The commander of the ship that originally fired requested permission to engage. Captain Elliot, the superintendent of British trade and the man who'd convinced the British merchants to hand over their opium in the first place, initially wavered, but the Chinese ships were bearing down hard. Another request to engage was made. The Chinese ships were festooned with red flags, the color of war. The honor of his nation and his flag would not allow Elliot to back down before such intimidation. The order was given, and the men engaged.
See, man, they done turned the good man bad. They done turned the good man bad, and this is where I feel, and maybe Chinese were like it's almost like they don't want no resolution. It's almost like once it's up with us, bro. Like I don't care who you send over here. I don't care how nice he is. I don't care what he did to stop the opium. I want y'all head. He might be nice, but he just one of y'all. And now Elliot gotta be the. Now Elliot gotta do what he gotta do. For the face of his country, who tried to do some manipulative backdoor shit to China. I'm pissed, bro. This is literally like one big misunderstanding. Like, just one big I mean, between Elliot and what England, what the Britons did in the beginning was just straight BS. Like, you shouldn't even did that. But with Elliot, it's just like, come on, bro. Don't. Like, I'm trying, man. We could be friends. I promise you, bro. We spend a lot of money on tea, bro. Trust me. And China's just like, bro, I don't need your money, boy. We got it all over here. We do it all. We are the world's goods. Besides opium, which is apparently bad for us. I'm sorry. I'm being long-winded, but these, like, this type of yeah, I'm a little upset.
The first broadside roared over the water. British shells shredded one of the fire rafts. There was a cataclysmic explosion, a gout of flame and sea. One of the war junk's magazines had been hit. All that was left of it were burning planks carried by the waves. The ships turned to give another broadside, but the outmatched Chinese junks began to retreat. Only the proud admiral's flagship was left, standing defiantly, returning shot. But it was hopelessly outclassed and already damaged. Seeing the admiral standing alone, Elliot told his captains to cease fire. The point had been made, there was no need for meaningless slaughter. And so, seeing the ceasefire, the flagship turned and limped back to port. The first real battle of the Opium Wars had come and passed, with the British bombarding the Chinese forces for defending a British ship which they themselves had originally fired on. For some time after this, there was a lull. Some in China even thought that the British were too far away to seriously pursue a war. But the truth was, the British were simply mustering their forces. At that very moment, Marines and soldiers from India were being redeployed and transported to China. The latest ships were dispatched from British naval yards to serve in the fight. Many in the British Admiralty saw this as an excellent opportunity to field test the iron, steam, and sail ships that were just rolling off the lines. When the forces arrived, though, the British descended on the island of Chusan. The Chinese and British officials met, once on the Chinese flagship, once on the British ship. Each time, the British made their demands clear. Surrender the island and no one will be harmed. And each time, the Chinese responded in baffled disbelief. The Chinese officials...
I think I missed something. I think I heard. When the British ship went into the territory and fired, did he just say they fired on their own ship and then the Chinese heard it and that's why they deployed their ships? Either way, my stance is still my stance, but I think I missed that. But this is crazy. This part is crazy. Like, so even if what I was confused on happened or didn't happen, these folks' plan was still to go to this area and try to force the Chinese to give it to him? Surrender it? Yo, this is mad. This is madness. Beer madness. This is madness.
Be harmed. And each time, the Chinese responded in baffled disbelief. The Chinese officials told the British that, hey, we never did you any harm. It's not right to punish us for the acts of those in Canton. They implored the British to turn away, but the British had their duty, and as the Chinese officials made clear on their way out, so did they. The next morning, the bombardment began. Soon the Chinese forces retreated behind the walls of their city, and the British Marines landed unopposed. They set up their guns and then took the night to rest. By the next day, they found the city nearly deserted. Chusan had been captured with little loss of life, and the British had a jumping-off point for their operations should they decide to threaten Shanghai. By this point, the emperor had dismissed Lin Zexu, the righteous minister who he had so celebrated a short while before, and replaced him with an official named Chusan, who was empowered to treat with the British. Chusan and Elliot began to discuss a settlement. They haggled over reparation for the destroyed opium, and eventually came to a figure of £6 million. But Elliot was still supposed to get territory for the British Empire that they could use for a port. He offered to return Chusan in exchange for some other island, but Chusan was not about to give away portions of sovereign China, and so the talks broke down. Then, as the new year passed, at least for the English, an opium runner, which had snuck its way into Canton, came back with the rumor that the emperor intended to resume the war and attack the British. Elliot decided to preempt such an assault, though the wisdom of trusting unsubstantiated rumors coming from opium runners is a bit questionable. Really, it's unlikely that such an attack was ever actually in the works. But working with the information he had, Elliot commanded the British forces to open fire on the Chinese fortifications at Chuenpee near Canton on the morning of January 7th, 1841. The fight...
Elliot, bro, I was with you, bro. But you taking advice from a dope runner, bro. A hustler who trying to make some bread. Who only cares about himself. So much that just so he could sell his little dope, which is a lot of dope, but he'll put lives at risk. And I don't know if it's a rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, but the way that they're explaining it is like you can't trust it. And Elliot seemed like a smart dude. But he said he went for it and opened fire on China, bro. He could have easily went there and said, hey, look, man, I'm hearing rumors that y'all still trying to go to war. Is that true or not? Like, he seemed like he may have been a good judgment of character. Like, is that true, bro? Like, y'all really trying to attack us? Like, but he did it. He took the word of a dope runner. And now they open fire.
At Chuenpee near Canton on the morning of January 7th, 1841. The fighting lasted mere hours. The British guns ripped through the fortifications and silenced any counter-batteries with haste. Then, Indian and British Marines landed and rapidly pushed the Chinese ground forces back. Tragically, a rumor had been circulating among the Chinese that the British executed every prisoner they captured, and so many hopelessly fought on to the death, until their battalions were in tatters and their dead outnumbered their living. By 11 in the morning, the British flag flew over the Chinese battlements. 600 Chinese lay dead, a meager 100 were captured. Among the British, only 30 were wounded, and those not even from enemy fire, but because of their pieces of artillery overheating and exploding. Meanwhile, the Nemesis, the iron steam and sail ship that was being tested in Chinese waters, demonstrated the power of its guns and rockets, dispatching junks and chasing away the Chinese fleet. 3 further forts stood to be captured, but the next morning, a Chinese physician came under flag of truce to ask on behalf of Chusan. Despite the overwhelming desire of the troops to cut their way to Canton, Elliot acquiesced. Horrified by the slaughter he had just witnessed, he wrote to one of the British trades who was pushing the war that he hoped to resolve it without further bloodshed, and that if further conflict was necessary, it was clear that they could take what they wanted. So he agreed to meet. Soon, terms were hammered out. The Chinese would pay $6 million in reparations. The British would pay $6 million to buy the island of Hong Kong.
And see, this is where I feel that the Chinese may have brought it on themselves, because Elliot, he the one who made them give up the opium for nothing. Like, bro, we gonna give you the opium, bro, We don't want no smoke. We don't want no problems. We just want to work with y'all. And now, and I don't know if it's because of ego, but from the videos, it make it seem like no, we don't know. Now, and I guess, I don't know if they thought they had a strong army or not, but I think everybody knew the British had good weaponry. Now they coming in, clearing house, and now is what can we do? Let's meet. And now you have to pay back for the opium that he got rid of. He gave it to you for nothing. Boy, when egos are hurt, boy.
Pay $6 million in reparations. The British would pay $6 million to buy the island of Hong Kong. Ambassadors would be exchanged, the Chinese agreed to not call the British tribute-bearing barbarians anymore, and the British would return all the forts and the territory that they had taken during the war. And most importantly, trade would resume in a much more free and open manner. So, problem solved. The Chinese get just about the best terms they could conceivably hope for under the circumstances, and the British get to fulfill their mission and open up a whole new empire for trade. There's been some bloodshed, but in the end, everybody's happy, right? Well, not exactly. Elliot's boss back in England, a fellow named Lord Palmerston, who will undoubtedly crop up in other episodes down the line, was not happy. The British Empire didn't get the massive sum of money he wanted as reparations for the opium that was destroyed. They didn't get to keep the territory that they'd conquered. They didn't get as many open ports as he would like, and perhaps most of all, he was livid that Elliot, who had never really been comfortable with the drug trade in the first place, didn't even ask that opium be legalized in China. So, Elliot, for his swift and nearly bloodless execution of the war, was dismissed and sent packing. And Chusan, the emperor had to be ecstatic with these terms, right? I mean, the Chinese were clearly outmatched, and at the end of the day, all they had to cede was a barren rock in the middle of the ocean. Pretty good deal, right? Well, the emperor was not so happy. In fact, he immediately recalled Chusan and ordered him executed for treason. Apparently, he thought they could have gotten a better deal. Don't worry, Chusan lived, he's fine, but needless to say, neither party ever signed this treaty. So join us next time as all the voices of reason are removed from the Opium War.
Bruh. It's 1:58. My son gets out of school at 2:15. I got until 2:45 to go pick him up. I'm locked in, y'all. I'm locked in. The next video is 8 minutes and 34 seconds. And with all my extra talking, it might be 12, 15 minutes. I'm going for it. This is some bullshit, y'all. What y'all got me watching, man? Because now I'm in the middle. Part 1, part 2, I'm China. Part 3, I'm, wait a minute, bruh. This could have been avoided, but I'm blaming it on egos. What are y'all hearing? Cause I may be hearing this wrong, y'all. My brain might not be connecting the dots the way they're supposed to. So let me know. But I'm about to do part 4 because I got a few minutes left before I gotta go pick up MP3. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll catch y'all on part 4.